Dembe. Uyikusasa. Uyinkosi eyalokothwa. Usukulungele. Khula Zulu.
Hello everyone, welcome back to ASR, African Stories Realized. This is our weekly review of Shaka iLembe Season 2. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. Episode 3 picks up in Mthethwa, where the Ndondo had sent one of their men, disguised as a Tsonga trader, to find out what information Somveli had gathered since returning home. Somveli revealed a shipment of maize and ivory that the Mthethwa were expecting at Delagoa Bay. In Ndwandwe, Zwide was plotting as he prepared a delegation that would travel to Kwanobamba for Shaka's coronation. His daughter, Ntombazana, was ordered to join the delegation, with the Queen Mother telling her to make sure she stands out so that she can catch the eye of the Mthethwa king, Dingiswayo. Zwide also instructed his men to hijack the Mthethwa shipment of maize and ivory in Delagoa Bay. In Kwanobamba, morale was high following the Zulus' victory over Pungashe's Buthelezi army as preparations for Shaka's coronation to the Zulu throne began. Two of his brothers, Dingane and Mpande, returned to be part of the occasion. However, concerns were raised when the ceremonial bull fell ill, putting the event in jeopardy. Meanwhile, Shaka, who was in isolation ahead of the big day, consulted with the Zulu elders before one of them collapsed and caught a devilish fever. The shaman who initially prophesied Shaka's rise to the Zulu throne arrived to cure him, with the fever being passed on to Shaka as he went through the spiritual trials of the throne that awaited him. Shaka was connected with his ancestors, as the former Zulu kings appeared to him in the form of Shaka's father, Senzaga Khan. Shaka confronted him angrily, but upon realizing that his father embodied all the former Zulu kings and their wisdom, he calmed down, as Senzaga Kona revealed that everything that Shaka had endured was the ancestors sharpening him for this very day. Shaka woke up from his fever dream and proceeded to slaughter a lion for the pending ceremony. Meanwhile, back at the Zulu capital, guests began arriving for the coronation, with reunions and introductions being made. Zwide's daughter sought out Dingiswayo and began flirting with the Mthethwa king. The two Kwabe princes were reunited with Shaka's old nemesis, Pakatwayo, revealing that their father was not well, followed by the brothers arguing over who would succeed him. Nandi's childhood friend, Pikile, arrived bearing gifts for her, a mirror which delighted the Queen Mother in waiting. However, it could not hide her concern over the sick ceremonial cow. Mkabayi reported to Shaka's grandmother, Queen Mthethwa, that she had given up all hope, with the Queen Mother ultimately instructing Mkabayi to halt the proceedings and inform Shaka that he can't take up the throne. However, at the 11th hour, another ceremonial cow arrived, or rather the cow that was actually meant for the ceremony, returned after initially fleeing the Zulu capital. On the morning of the coronation, Shaka arrived in Kwanobamba as the festivities began. He entered the Zulu kraal, and with the help of some young men, he slaughtered the ceremonial bull in front of all his guests. During the coronation, Zwide's men ambushed the Mthethwa delegation coming from Delagoa Bay, and despite Zwide's orders to avoid any casualties, his hard-headed son, Nomahlanjana, attacked the Mthethwa men, which ended in the death of their Nduna, one of Dingiswayo's trusted hitmen. Soshangane confronted Nomahlanjana for not following Zwide's orders, but the prince lashed out at him, reminded Soshangane that he wasn't Zwide's real son. Back in Kwanobamba, the coronation continued, and the episode ends with Shaka officially being unveiled as the new Zulu King. We had an extremely packed episode today, with most of the main characters coming together to celebrate Shaka. Some of them, however, attended reluctantly, especially Shaka's brothers and Pakatwayo, the Kwabe prince who gave Shaka a hard time in Kwabe when they were younger. He's the only person we've seen beat Shaka in hand-to-hand combat so far. It wasn't an easy episode to follow, especially the commotion over the ceremonial bull, and I wasn't sure if the bull's sickness was caused by Shaka's spiritual trials, or the fact that it wasn't the bull that was initially meant for the coronation, or was it something more sinister like witchcraft, which Nandi alluded to. They might have also hinted that Shaka's brothers, Dingane and Mpande, arrived with the bull, and they looked very disappointed when Shaka managed to follow through with the ceremony. I personally think it's just because Shaka had to find some spiritual resolution before ascending to the throne, but Shaka's brothers are not to be trusted. I'm glad Nandi had this moment because I feel like it will be downhill for her after this. When Pikile gifted her that mirror, I knew we were in trouble. I think this episode did well to show us just how vain of a person Nandi is. Shaka's grandmother tried to advise her about the responsibility of being the queen mother, but I fear it went in one ear and came out the other. She might be too stubborn to take a back seat and let Shaka lead. Dingiswayo seems to be falling for Zwide's honey trap, and if you pay attention to the opening theme for this season, they do kind of spoil the storyline of Zwide sending his daughter to seduce Dingiswayo. I suspect that following the ambush by the Ndwandwe, the two tribes will be on the brink of war. But to make peace, Zwide will offer up his daughter to the Mthethwa King for marriage. Somveli will no doubt be feeling guilty after selling out his tribe and being responsible for the death of the Nduna, who believed in him more than his own father. There's a story which came out this week about the Zulu royal family protesting Mkabayi's brief romance scene in the season 2 premiere. The royal family feels that the princess was misrepresented in the scene, especially because she wasn't married to him and historical records don't really support it. I personally had forgotten about the scene, but I love the creative liberties that the show took with the character there. It was definitely a WTF moment, but I think it was well executed. We actually haven't seen her bedfellow since that premiere, so maybe they cut him out of the show after that, or maybe she got rid of him herself after getting all the information she needed from him. I think it actually increases her mystique. I promised some of you that I would give more context on Mzilikazi today, but I don't want to spoil too much before they've given him anything to do on the show. So bear with me one more week. If the show doesn't move his story forward, I'll definitely give context on that part of his life. I apologize for the delay, but there was so much to review today, I didn't want to shoehorn it into an episode where he barely featured. I really enjoyed the use of traditional songs in today's episode. They had my foot tapping for the last 10 minutes of the episode. The coronation itself was well executed. The build up to the ceremony with all the guests interacting while Shaka fought some spiritual battles was very well done. Shaka iLembe season 2 is on a roll, and I've been nothing but impressed so far. We'll be back next week with another review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is ASR for the love of African filmmaking and storytelling.